All right. We have a few more who are joining us here. Continue to let them in. Everyone can see my screen. Hopefully, we'll go through and do this ARC update. This is one we're kind of doing a little bit differently. We keep kind of seeing how each one of these help and what areas the ARC updates help. And these advocacy updates are hopefully will continue to be kind of empowering and helping and kind of keeping good information going in the right directions. This time, what we're going to do is each one of we're still going to go through the general ARC updates, ARC of Ohio, the federal public policy, the state public policy, which has been rampant, like been going crazy. So, and then as we go through the different regional directors, instead of just kind of sharing flyers of what's going on, we're each going to share a different resource that may be either in our it may be in our region or it may be statewide, but it's a resource that would be really good for families to know. So away we go. All right. The first thing we're going to talk about is going to be the ARC of Ohio updates. There are a lot of resources that are on our website, and we continually we're working through some of these to update, especially some of the we've been doing a lot with, especially Lindsay and Jen, different ones with the Charting the Life course and different things, and we're working a lot of that EI work and that the IEPs and that sort of thing. So if you ever need resources, you can always call us 614-487-4720. But you can also go to our website and look at you can click the resources tab at the top and look at the various resources. There's also, as you see there on the screen, there's a link on that page. It's just a screenshot from that page of our website. But there's also a place for presentations if you ever attend, or even if you missed an art conference or something like that and you want to look at those presentations, you can certainly go through and watch those again as well. So that is the resources tab on our website, the arcofohio.org. Click the resources tab. Here's the page that you'll see, and you can scroll through various topics and the different resources that are related to those topics. And the next thing for this stuff here is we don't put this out a whole lot. This isn't something that we really go nuts with, but we do have regions. We at one time the ARC of Ohio was you have the ARC of United States, you have the state ARCs, and then you have all these chapters as well. And a lot of those chapters really didn't make it through some of the funding issues and the grant issues. It's hard to do fundraisers. It's hard to get grants now. Especially when United Way shifted from the disability, funding different disability services to the opioid crisis, a lot of our chapters really struggled. And so we wanted to kind of resod some of those grassroots and still maintain advocacy across the state. So what we did is we divided up the ARC of Ohio into these different regions. Okay, so as you see here, these are 7 different regions. The pink here is Lindsay Althouse, the northwest region. The blue is Amy Mordaunt, who's also on the call today, our Lake region. The orange is our Northeast region, which we currently do not have a regional director for. The green is Kara's East region with Kara Irwin. And the red is the Southeast region, which I was a regional director at. I still do a lot in that region. Eventually, once the other regions we have a regional director for, we may eventually put a new regional director in the Southeast. But for right now, I'm still working through that area. The purple is Jen Powers Algie, who has come on board with us. She's our newest regional director, but she's been here for a while. She does a lot of state public policy. And you see the, Hamilton, the Cincinnati, all the way over to Adams and over. So that's our Southwest region. And then the yellow is our Central region, which we understand it has obviously Columbus all the way over to Montgomery County with Dayton and different things. So there's some pretty big regions. If you notice that there's 2 that are a little bit smaller, the Southwest and the Lake, those are regional directors who either have other duties or part-time or different things like that. So our regions we don't always have it's this many counties or it's this kind of thing. We kind of, they're not really hard lines either. They're just kind of what we kind of helps us internally. But what we like to do is, as the Arc of Ohio grows, that we can continue getting more and more regional director, more advocates, and then each advocate, each regional director could have a smaller portion, but it'll do more in those counties. So this is our starting point. This is kind of where we're moving forward. Again, we don't show this a whole lot. It's more of an internal thing of just how we track advocacy and things. But just so you have a little bit of an idea, just a little bit of a look into the into how we separate our regions and how we do our advocacy. That's it. All right. The next thing we're going to talk about is, I always want to put a plug in for our podcast. Our podcast is with Jen and Lindsay, and they do a wonderful job and have had wonderful, really good people come on board and interview them. So you can find that on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. It's also on Amazon Music. And so I encourage you to go through and find it. You just search the Arc of Ohio on any of those platforms and you will find our podcast. It's a wonderful thing. All right. So at this time, we're going to go through, our federal public policy or federal updates, and Lindsay Althouse is going to take it away.
Good morning, everyone. We're going to keep it short. Right now, the top thing that the ARC of the United States is working on is supplemental security income, or SSI. It provides critical support for millions of people with disabilities to help afford the basics of everyday life, like food and rent. But the rules for SSI and the expansion of SSI hasn't happened since 1989. And so with inflation and everything, most people who are using SSI are in poverty, because at any given time, they are only allowed $2,000 in assets if you are single, and $3,000 in assets if you are married. So we are working with everyone. Sherrod Brown originally introduced this along with Rob Portman, so two Ohio senators. Towards the end, Rob Portman decided that he wanted his legacy to be the opioid crisis instead of SSI. But the Senator Casey from Pennsylvania has signed on, and they're doing it kind of, we call it the Noah's Ark way, where for every Republican candidate or Republican senator or House member signs on, we get a Democrat to sign on, and back and forth, so 2 by 2. And we are working. It was originally introduced when I got hired back in December of 2021, and went through everything and kind of fell off. And now they are reintroducing it, and we are very, very excited. If this would go through, it would expand SSI to be $10,000 for those who are single and $20,000 for married couples. So getting them as much out of the poverty line as humanly possible, because $2,000 with inflation is not remotely possible these days.
Yeah, wonderful. And that's a big deal. I mean, that was a wonderful win. Just to see Ohio represented in that way was amazingly awesome. Okay. All right. So now we're going to move over to the statewide updates with Jen Powers Algie. Hi, Jen. How you doing?
Hey, good. I'm excited that the budget's done. Woo-hoo.
I know, right? It was like, when is it going to happen, and all these things, and then you see the governor signed it, and you're like, okay.
Yes. I like that picture of him with like his 50 pens, like sitting there. I was like, there it is. So
right.
Yeah. So guys, thank you all for your advocacy efforts. It made a huge difference this round. So the budget was signed on July 3rd. And he vetoed about 44 provisions. So I have a page here in a minute, and I'll kind of discuss something just to give you an update on it. But direct support wages are going to be $17, $18 an hour January, and then in July that'll bump up to 18. And the Senate language that we were kind of worried about there at the end, that they tried to add in to prevent parents of minors to be providers, that got deleted out. So, and we know that your advocacy made a big difference there. That was actually, they deleted that out in conference, so we didn't even have to ask the governor to do that. So and then I was just going to point out that one thing, we didn't we were obviously always advocating for all things that help people with disabilities, but we really focused on the DSP wages. But I will say that the budget, the education piece of the budget, is a pretty big one. It's a pretty big change to how our schools are going to be funded. The House and Senate really pushed for private school vouchers to kind of take precedence over everything else. So a lot of our funding in state schools are going to be different. So we kind of need you to pay attention here and just know that our public schools are going to might be having a hard time here in the next couple years, trying to stay above water, since a lot of that funding is going to go over to public or private schools. So that might be our next wave of advocacy. And then the next page, I just kind of like added like a little article here about Governor DeWine did veto the actual wage increase, and I kind of freaked out because this is my first budget I've like paid attention to, and so I'm like calling Josh and Gary and I'm like, what's going on? But this is really typical. So this article kind of shows that everybody who was involved in the advocacy, opera and everyone else, it's like, it's okay, we kind of saw this coming. They don't really like to put specific numbers and wage information into the actual budget. They kind of like work through it and then they get everybody on board, which is DODD and the Medicaid system. And so that they basically say like, this is what we're going to do. And then you guys have to go back in the administrative rules and make it happen. So I just wanted everybody to know that even though that piece was taken out of the budget language, we're going to be okay. And everyone feels like we're good. The DeWine made, he made the deals with everyone to make sure that ODM, DODD, and everybody in Medicaid are going to make sure that our direct support professionals are paid a living wage. So I just kind of added that in if you wanted to read through it. The next page has like the second piece of it. I just thought it was pretty important.
Yeah. And one thing I should have mentioned right off the bat, and I didn't apologize, is we are now, as part of this changes to this ARC update, these advocacy updates, is you'll get an email it's going to go out at noon. You have an email that's going to come out at noon, and that email is going to have all these different, basically these sections, these slides and different things. It's going to have the different links. If you see a link here, you're going to be able to access those from that email. And so we're trying to make it to where even if you were to miss the meeting, you kind of go through and see, or, we do put a lot of text on there. There's a lot of things that are like, wait, what was that? You can always go back and see. So I should have mentioned that the first time. So even with all these things, it's super important stuff. It's a big deal. But you'll better read this later and have the links and stuff like that.
But thank you to everyone who testified and for everyone who made their calls and emailed. It made the difference. I mean, it's everything, our advocacy. So, and then the next page, I think I just have one more small report on Madeline's Law, hearing aids for people, for children with disabilities. It passed the House. Woo! Yeah. So it's now in the Senate. So reach out to your senator if this is an important one to you, which it should be, because kids' hearing aids should be covered by insurance. It's not cosmetic, it's education and like being able to hear.
Do you foresee any issues coming through the Senate? I mean,
I don't. This looks really good. Honestly, I thought we'd have issues in the House, if anything, because of who sponsored the bill in the Senate and the House, but I feel really good about it. So this one just seems to be, we had an anonymous, or everybody in the committee, in the health committee, voted yes on it. So that's a big deal. So, and then it went to the House and it had a pretty good vote. So only a few no's. So I feel good about this. So keep calling your senators and emailing. And if anybody wants to testify, they'll be doing that in the Senate, and we'll keep you updated.
Wonderful.
And I think that's it.
Yep, that is good. So now we're going to move over to Amy in the Lake region, Amy Mordaunt. And hi, Amy, how are you today?
I am great. Had I known that you were going to show that color-coded map, we all could have worn those same shirts.
I know, like there, yeah. It's great.
Is Lake blue? Because I want the orange. I'm just saying.
The orange. We can do that. We did Lake blue because it's the lake.
It's my color.
All
Hi,
right.
guys. Yeah, so my name is Amy Mordaunt. I am the regional director for the Lake region, which encompassed all those counties that you saw before, Lake, Huron, Erie, Huron, Lorraine, Cuyahoga, Medina, Summit, Geauga, Lake, and Ashtabula. So that's a lot of counties. Say that 3 times fast. And one of the things I wanted to talk with you about today was an organization called People First. Some of you may have heard about this. Some of you may have heard it in passing, may not know exactly what it is. But People First is a self-advocacy group for individuals with intellectual or developmental disabilities. There are various chapters throughout the state of Ohio. We actually, Josh and I co-facilitate a group in Cuyahoga County, if I can get the next slide. We facilitate a group in Cuyahoga County, and we sort of discuss lots of different issues, a ton of different topics, everything from financial self-sufficiency, health, safety, relationships, voting rights. And, people often, I think, and I erroneously do this too, associate that self-advocacy with legislative rights, and it can, but really it's about making choices, being able to communicate, knowing your needs, and then being able to communicate your needs to the right person so that your needs are able to be met. And we can do that through a whole host of activities and empowerment learning experiences and things like that. Actually, our last meeting was really fun. We did an event with the LGBT Center of Cleveland, and we talked a little bit about the intersectionality of belonging to both of those communities and how both of those communities can be really overlooked. And how do you kind of stand up for yourself in one community when, one of those communities may not be addressing your needs. So we do lots of those types of activities during our monthly meeting. We are currently working in People First of Cuyahoga to establish officers, right? And Josh, you can chime in anytime because Josh co-facilitates that. And we're
Yes.
going to be working this month in the month of July, kind of narrowing down that focus a little bit. And I guess I would say what People First is it's not exclusively a social club, right? So we're coming together for a reason. We're coming together to support one another in our advocacy efforts and to really facilitate and teach individuals who have an interest in that in becoming advocates in their community.
Right. Yeah.
Do you have anything to add, Josh? You can go to the next slide.
The People First, there's People First all around the world, even the People First group here in Athens. We did a video call with People First in New Zealand and just kind of learned what self-advocacy looked like across the pond, kind of thing, which is kind of cool. But, as we, every People First group, like myself and Amy co-facilitating it, that's not the way People First should be going at all. It needs to be led by individuals. They self-advocate. So that's where we're heading. So we're putting those officers in place, president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, and all those things. And so we're working on this now. And then as we get closer to November and we start talking about what it means to vote on your, for the state and the federal and even county different, politics and politicians and things, we're also going to go through and simulate that with electing officers in the People First groups. So we're actually going to use that to help prepare for elections coming up in November. So it's kind of a cool thing. And we're looking forward to that. If you know of anyone in the Cleveland area, in Cuyahoga County, who would like to be a part of People First of Ohio, by all means, reach out to us. We'd love to have them come on board. All right, here we go. We have Kara, who's up next in our East region. Kara's counties are right there. You have Belmont, Harrison, Noble, Jefferson, Muskingum, Guernsey, Coshocton, Perry, Morgan, and Knox. And this
Thank you, Josh.
We're always excited about every year. So take it away, Kara.
Good morning. Thank you, Josh. I am excited to present again our 4th annual The Arc of Ohio presents Everyone's Got Talent. If you haven't made it out to Belmont County to be part of the event or to be a spectator, please come on out on Saturday, August the 5th. The opening ceremonies will start, if you look up there in the sunshine, it'll be at 11:30 a.m. The whole talent show event is an inclusion event. Half of the contestants have a developmental disability. The other half are typical peers acting as mentors, role models, that want to get out there and highlight their own talent. It's a very nice day. Nobody knows which contestants are identified with a developmental disability. Only the judges know. There is prize money up for grabs for both adult category and children's category this year, and trophies, and there'll be an award ceremony presented by some of our local models that are part of like our local pumpkin festival and pageant girls. That'll happen at 3:30 will be the award ceremony. All during the event, there is a festival going on. I should say it's a rain or shine event. There is no rain date. There are so many people involved, not only up on the stage, but during the festival, we have an information festival going along on the social services that we have in our area. We even have some coming from out of town. I believe DeSaco is coming this year. I'm hoping maybe Learning Aid Ohio, but all of those social services, Easter Seals over there in West Virginia, where they work on early intervention, detection, and diagnostic, and then treatment. We like to have our families come for this fun day, but also be able to have those resources at their fingertips. And not only do we have the Information Fest going on, we have the event is free, so families can come on out and enjoy the event at no charge. There is a celebrity dunk tank where we put our hometown heroes, people that come alongside of people every day who have disabilities. We have doctors, firefighters, superintendents. We have the Board of DDs in Belmont counties, Steve Williams, that is taking the hot seat for us. And it's just a fun way to get everybody together and see everybody in a positive light and have some fun. And we also have food trucks, and we will have a few vendors that will be selling items that pertain to maybe autism or Down syndrome. We have a very fun feature this year coming. We have the Wild West of the Ark at 4 p.m. right after following our award ceremony. We'll have a Wild West of the Ark where Emmy Martin will be showing off some of her fancy trick riding. And that will occur until 4:30. Then we will be getting ready, pulling all of our raffle items. People could come on out and win some great items for as little as $1. The community really comes forward and they do a really great job. We have great sponsorship for this. And then we have a headliner band coming from Columbus, the Blue Spectrum band at 5 o'clock. So should be a great day.
Yeah, and
What were you
this
gonna
is it's not on this flyer here, but this is happening in St. Clairsville, Ohio. Okay.
Yes,
That's the pavilion
absolutely.
that's behind the school there. So it's a wonderful wonderful event. 4th annual. Hard to believe it's the 4th year. That's pretty cool. So
Pretty cool. And hopefully
uh,
we get recognized, and maybe nationally, the ARC will be able to have a national inclusion talent show one day. It would be a great
Yeah.
dream. So yeah, thank you, Josh. That's right. The location is great. It's right at our local rec center amphitheater park. So
yeah. So for Care for Her, for your resource, we're looking at Ohio Rise, which is an amazing
Yes.
resource. And you've been able to help some families here just recently with Ohio Rise. So why don't you give us some
Yes.
information on that?
Seems to sort of stand in the gaps. Ohio Department of Medicaid has launched Ohio Rise, which is a specialized managed care program for youth with complex behavioral and multi-system needs. So it really seems to be doing a great job sort of standing in the gaps. And there is an eligibility process. It's called the CANS assessment, a child and adolescent needs and strengths-based assessment, helps determine the child and youth eligibility for Ohio Rise. There is a click here on this. I hope it works on this PowerPoint. You can get and you can see to make the referral for the CANS. Ohio Rise eligibility, children and youth may be eligible for Ohio Rise. Either managed care or fee for services are ages 0 to 20, requires significant behavioral health treatment needs. I've recently found out that they really do take a look at those inpatient stays. They're really trying to avoid having families have to go down that walk of life where you have to constantly have your child or adolescent go into an inpatient setting to get treatment. They're really trying to avoid that psychiatric residential treatment, process. So really on the right-hand side, there are some services. And the way I've seen it work here in the local area here in St. Clairsville, we have the Village Network that has an intensive home-based treatment program that could be funded through Ohio Rise. So they work really closely with Coleman Health System, Cedar Ridge, the Village Network. So those mental health agencies really seem to be getting called upon to not only maybe do the CANS assessment, but also to provide the treatment. There are a lot of great opportunities if a family doesn't have Medicaid. The 1915C waiver can offer, it's that unique waiver service and eligibility for families that may not otherwise be able to tap into Ohio Medicaid, the things that you would get through Ohio Medicaid. So we have a local, right at the top of the screen. I believe every area will have sort of like a hub where you can make that referral. Ours here in Belmont County, Jefferson, Noble, Harrison, we would go through the Jefferson County ESC. We do have the web link there. There are some great administrators that will answer phone calls for you. It is so new. So I think, the ARC is advocates working with county boards to sort of navigate this with families. The ARC does, what we do best, get families together and educate them and help them know about these resources. It's really been helpful in our area. So I hope it could be helpful for somebody else listening in today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Kara. Thank you.
Josh.
So we're going to work on the Southeast region here. Southeast region has these counties here in Southeast Ohio. It's also where I live. I live down in Athens, out in the country, which is interesting. Southeast Ohio, all the hills, all the good stuff. So we're going to talk about today is just to kind of touch on some personal funds rule things. This is something that's always been in place, but it really came to light last year, especially kind of later in the year, early fall. The personal funds rule is essentially, and I've got this paper, and again, you're going to have this here. You're going to have a link to our website, thearcofohio.org/PFR on that noon email as well. But the personal funds rule is essentially saying if you are the parent, the provider, you're the guardian, and you're the payee, that you have to keep a ledger, and that ledger has to be submitted. There's some different rules if you are an independent provider or if you are working through an agency. The personal funds rule right now, even the ARC of Ohio, we're creating some of these one-pagers that are going to kind of help explain a lot of those, a lot of the different areas. This right here is the page that was put out. You see on the date on the bottom there, October 11th of last year. But in the bold letters on the kind of the middle upper, kind of the middle, a little bit higher than that, says keep receipts for purchases when the team determines receipts are required. If you are the guardian, the payee, and the provider, you have to keep that ledger, and that's a smart thing to do. Be sure that you have a separate bank account just for the individual, and you definitely want to keep the ledger, and you want to keep all those, track everything that you can. If the team, okay, there's some little bit of thoughts about it. What does that team mean? The team is going to be you as a family member, the provider, the SSA, that kind of thing. If the team decides that there is a need for receipts, then you will have to keep the receipts. They will be required, and you'll have to submit those as well. We are going to be working as advocates to help families navigate this a little bit. And even say, if you fall into that situation, is there someone else that could be that payee that would lift the personal funds rule from applying to you? That's what are going to help families through. But we want to start kind of talking about this personal funds rule a little more and keep moving in the right direction to help now, because it's one of those things. It's like SSI and SSDI and all these different things that come into play, and it's just a lot. So if you feel like you might fall into the area of personal funds, you think it might apply to your family, just give us a call. We can help you kind of work through it and kind of look at some different options that might be available, either to navigate through it or to avoid it by finding a different payee. Sometimes it's husband and wife roles, as far as separating those out, and that's enough. So each situation is different, as you know. In this crazy DD world that we live in, there's just all these different scenarios that we all find ourselves into. So we can hear your story if you give us a call, and we can kind of give that how this would apply in your situation. So please don't hesitate to do so. Okay, again, there's a personal funds rule, thearcofohio.org/PFR. That link will be on the noon email. But it's certainly worth understanding and reaching out if you need some help. All right, now we're going to move over to Jen in the Southwest region, and here are the counties that Jen covers. Jen Powers-Algie, and here we go.
Yeah, so I just wanted to bring to light a really neat event that we have here in Cincinnati, the Over the Rhine International Film Festival. It starts today, so it's this weekend. Very, very, very cool event organized by LAD. LAD is a nonprofit that does a lot of housing. I'll just kind of read this. Organized by leading disability services advocacy organization LAD and under the artistic direction of the venerated film critic. Oh, this is about the OTR Film Festival. So basically, if any of you guys remember Real Abilities, this is what it has turned into, and it's just like taken a huge step up. It's received all kinds of awards. It's just a really powerful event. I've been a few times. My kids love it. And yeah, that's LAD. LAD empowers adults with developmental disabilities to live, work, and connect, provides the dignity of adulthood through housing, health and wellness, day programs, employment, and advocacy. We envision a world where all can pursue one's best life. So LAD is just a great organization here in Cincinnati. We're really lucky they're here. And they do this really neat film festival. So check it out this weekend only. This is my anniversary weekend. So I think I'm going to have to make Chris come with me. I already donated. I always donate to LAD when they do this, because I'm so happy they do it here. But I think we need to go to it. So maybe I'll see you there if you guys attend.
Wonderful. Wonderful. All right, now we're going to have Lindsay Oldhouse on the Northwest region. She has like 3 counties, I think, or 23. That's right, 23, whatever it may be. She has a lot of counties, let's put it that way. Anytime we don't want a county, we just say, put it in Lindsay's region. She'll be fine.
Basically, yes.
Right.
So I wanted to bring to light Ohio Family and Children First Services, that every county has it. So if you need any type of support, they would be a great resource for you. It's a partnership of state and local government, communities, and families that enhances the well-being of Ohio's children and families by building community capacity and coordinating systems and services and engaging families. So they can help you with anything from getting some extra respite care or support for your family to helping you navigate the foster care system. They helped us navigate getting our son a fence in our backyard to keep him safe. Our neighbors have a pool, and where we live, they don't have to have a fence, but we needed a fence for his safety. So they are just a great resource to be able to help you like with anything. They can help you navigate. I know that they are using a family in our district is using them for support to get their son into a part-time school, part-time therapy center. They're just a very, very good bridge to help with anything that you might need. So, like I said, their core functions are building community capacity, coordinating systems and services, family engagement and empowerment, and shared accountability.
What was it like working with, I think some parents I've heard, they say, well, now I got to go work through another organization, but I've always heard that, the Ohio Family and Children First, like they're super nice to work with. Like they try to make
They
those.
are, they're basically your Oprah. Like they go in and they like help you with something that you would never be able to afford to be able to give your family.
Yeah.
And they research it and they look for grants and they find it and they're able
Yeah.
to help you through it. I will say, just because I am a mom of a child with a disability, it was a lot of paperwork, but well worth paperwork. It took me a really long time to get through the paperwork. My office is near where the FCFC is in our county. And she would like walk by my office and be like, I still need your paperwork. And I'm like, I'm still filling it out.
Oh,
Sorry, there's a lot. And I had to it was during back to school last year.
Oh.
So I did do back to school paperwork at the same time while trying to fill out the FCFC paperwork. They also do monthly meetings. So be sure to check out your local FCFC because you can go into the monthly meetings as well.
Yeah. And I feel like FCFC kind of fills in some of those gaps, like like a fence, for instance. Sometimes the waiver, it's hard to get the waiver to pay for a fence at times, right? Like that's a tough thing to do. Or some of those just really unique scenarios, unique situation or devices that are needed. FCFC is a wonderful resource to kind of help, help in some of those. Okay, I'm going to, let's see, I'm gonna have Miss Amy. I forgot that Amy has one more thing here.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, it's the joys of working from home. And when you have loud teenagers banging, I accidentally muted myself to tell them to shh, I'm on a meeting. So I hope all of you guys understand that and laugh from home, because I'm sure it's never happened to anyone but me. So basically what I wanted to talk with you about, and I don't know if you can are you able to go back and get to the slide with my contact information,
Yeah.
Josh? Basically, one of the things I just wanted to say too was if you are interested, I put a link up there for finding a chapter near you. If you look and you don't find anything, there's a link for finding a chapter near you. Go to the next one with my contact information. If you don't find anything or have any questions, yeah, keep going the other way. Unless the slide's not there. If you have any questions, give me a call or email. Maybe that slide didn't get put on there. My email is amy.mordaunt@thearcofohio.org. You can find it on our website, but if you are looking for more information specifically on Cuyahoga County or starting a new chapter in one of the regions in my area, or if you are a day program, if your son attends a day program, son or daughter attends a day program, many of the day programs tune in to our People First meetings, and they can make arrangements so that if your son or daughter would like to attend virtually, they can make a setup in a different room where they can attend that, and we can make that happen. So, if you are a day program provider, if you are a parent of someone in a day program or someone just working or anything like that, don't hesitate to reach out, because we would definitely like to include everyone that would like to be included. And I see there's a hand raised too, Josh.
Yeah, we do not allow comments and different things,
okay.
discussions and things like that, but you can feel free to email us and different thing. Adrian, I think you were also one that just gave me a call as well, so we can also talk on the phone.
Okay.
And we'll be good to go. So yeah, absolutely. So in our emails, you can find those. Lindsay, will those be on the noon email as well? All of our contact information. I'm sure we can slide it in there. We can get that. So that way, you guys, if there's something that we've talked about, you want to reach out, you can see the different slides, and you can certainly email and do different things, and it'll be a wonderful, wonderful thing. All right. So the next meeting, again, it's the first Thursday of every month. The next meeting will be Thursday, August the 3rd. At 10 o'clock in the morning again. So we do this every month on the first Thursday of the month at 10 o'clock. And next month we'll have all different resources and and continue to share anything that some of it's trending, some of it's just things that we've been looking at, some things that we've developed, whatever it may be. And so if you would like for us to talk on a certain resource, then you can certainly email us as well, and we would be happy to talk on that. Okay, thank you, everyone. We appreciate you joining us and being a part of the ARC update, and we will see you again next month.